Taiwanese ex-Special Forces soldier killed in Ukraine. Taiwanese tech firm Panram announces major layoffs. Suspended Hsinchu mayor Gao Hong'an's appeal trial begins. Woman strips to her underwear at Iran University. Instagram famous squirrel named Peanut euthanized. U.S. flies long-range bomber in drill with South Korea, Japan. Death toll from Spanish floods rises over 200. Russia fines Google more than the world's entire GDP.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Tuesday, November 5th, and here are your top stories. In local news, Wu Zongda, a former Taiwanese Army Special Forces soldier, tragically died in Ukraine while serving as a volunteer fighter. Joining the International Legion in 2023, Wu later fought with Ukrainian regular forces. He was killed on October 31st during intense combat in Luhansk after facing heavy artillery fire from Russian troops. Taiwanese electronic manufacturer Panram International Corporation announced layoffs of 250 employees, cutting nearly half its workforce after losing key clients. This follows Kingston's full exit from Panram's board and major stock divestment amid financial losses in Q2. Suspended Hsinchu Mayor Gao Hong'an, convicted of misreporting legislative assistant fees and sentenced to 7 years and 4 months, appeared in Taiwan High Court for her appeal. Her office's 4 aides faced charges, with only former legal director Chen Youkai acquitted. And in global news, a female student stripped to her underwear outside her university in Iran in what students and rights groups say was likely a protest against the country's strict Islamic dress code. A video circulating on social media shows the woman sitting outside the university in her underwear, her hair uncovered. She gestured to her fellow students, many of whom are females and wearing headscarves, before walking around the premises. Another video shows her walking down a road, still undressed, before a group of men surrounded her, bundled her into a car, and drove away.
Amnesty said Saturday that the woman had been violently arrested after protesting the abusive enforcement of the dress code at Tehran's Islamic Azad University. The woman had reportedly been harassed by members of the Basij, an Iranian volunteer paramilitary group, on the university grounds. Amnesty claims that members of the force had ripped off her headscarf and torn her clothes. Citing eyewitnesses, it is reported that the student undressed after 2 security personnel calmly talked to her and warned her about violating the dress code. The university's public relations director claimed the woman was experiencing mental health issues. The wearing of a hijab, or headscarf, in public is mandatory for women under Iran's strict interpretation of Islamic law, enforced by the country's so-called morality police.
Peanut, the Instagram famous squirrel seized from its owner's home on Wednesday, has been euthanized by New York state officials. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation took Peanut, along with a raccoon named Fred, after learning the animals were sharing a residence with humans, creating the potential for human exposure to rabies. The department stated that it is illegal to keep young wildlife as pets. Both Peanut and Fred were euthanized to test for rabies, though it is unclear when the animals were put down.
Officials are coordinating to ensure the protection of public health related to the illegal possession of wild animals that have the potential to carry the rabies virus, and have encouraged anyone who had contact with the animals to consult a doctor. Peanut had been living with his owner, Mark Longo, for 7 years. Longo said he found Peanut after witnessing the squirrel's mother get hit by a car in New York City. He brought Peanut home and cared for him for 8 months before attempting to release him back into the wild. However, Peanut returned to Longo's porch a day and a half later with a broken bone protruding from his tail, leading Longo to conclude that Peanut couldn't survive on his own. Since then, Peanut has captured the internet's heart, amassing 537,000 followers on the Instagram page run by Longo.
The United States flew a long-range bomber in a trilateral drill with South Korea and Japan on Sunday in response to North Korea's recent test firing of a new intercontinental ballistic missile designed to reach the U.S. mainland. North Korea tested the newly developed Hwasong-19 ICBM, which flew higher and remained airborne longer than any other missiles it had launched. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un described it as an appropriate military action to counter external security threats posed by its rivals.
On Sunday, the U.S. flew the B-1B Bombardier train with South Korean and Japanese fighter jets near the Korean peninsula, demonstrating the three countries' firm resolve and readiness to respond to North Korea's advancing nuclear and missile programs. The U.S. often responds to major North Korean missile tests with temporary deployments of some of its powerful military assets such as long-range bombers, aircraft carriers and nuclear-powered submarines near the Korean peninsula. North Korea typically responds angrily to such U.S. actions, calling them part of a U.S.-led plot to invade the North and performing additional weapons tests. A B-1B is capable of carrying a large conventional weapons payload.
Days after historic flash floods swept through towns in Spain, killing at least 200 people, the initial shock has given way to anger, frustration, and a wave of solidarity. Spanish emergency authorities raised the death toll to at least 200, with 202 of the victims in Valencia alone. Many streets remained blocked by piles of vehicles and debris, leaving some residents trapped in their homes. In several areas, there was still no electricity, running water, or stable telephone connection, and as authorities repeatedly warned, more storms are expected.
The storm's devastation was reminiscent of a tsunami, with survivors left to pick up the pieces as they mourn loved ones lost in Spain's deadliest natural disaster in living memory. In Chiva, residents were busy clearing debris from mud-filled streets. The Valencian town received more rain in 8 hours than in the preceding 20 months, causing a gully that crosses the town to overflow, tearing up roads and walls of houses. Security forces and soldiers are actively searching for an unknown number of missing people, many feared to still be trapped in wrecked vehicles or flooded garages. Satellite images of Valencia before and after the disaster illustrated the scale of the catastrophe, showing the transformation of the Mediterranean metropolis into a landscape submerged in muddy waters.
A Russian court has demanded Google pay a number so large that even the Kremlin acknowledges is largely symbolic, not a sum expected to bolster its war fund anytime soon. The fine amounts to around $20 decillion, 20 followed by 33 zeros. According to the Russian news outlet RBC, the amount is based on claims from 17 Russian television channels and media outlets whose content was blocked on YouTube, the video platform owned by the tech giant, as they are sanctioned supporters of President Vladimir Putin's regime and its invasion of Ukraine.
The court that imposed the fine may be in for a long wait before Google pays up. Not only does the amount dwarf Google's $2 trillion market value, but it's also vastly larger than the entire global economy, which the International Monetary Fund estimates at around $110 trillion, a figure with only 13 zeros. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov commented, "The company should not restrict our broadcasters on their platform. This should be a reason for the Google leadership to pay attention and improve the situation." Google's parent company, Alphabet, stated, "We do not believe these ongoing legal matters will have a material adverse effect." Google did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
The answer for last Friday was C, comeback. The athlete's incredible comeback after injury surprised everyone. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of death toll from Spanish floods rises over 200. Number 1, solidarity, 团结. The community showed great solidarity during these difficult times. Number 2, proceed, 在之前. A warning should precede any major announcement. Number 3, catastrophe, 灾难. The earthquake was a catastrophe that left thousands homeless. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's it for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Wei Li, your host. I'll see you next time.